Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing something very different. We are going to be looking at training need analysis using Microsoft Excel. If you're an HR manager or talent and development manager, HR business partner, HR officer, this video is for you. So sit back, relax and enjoy. Trust me, you don't want to miss this video. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do like and share so that I can create more meaningful content like this. So what is training need analysis? Is basically, to my understanding, is a system whereby a company uses to identify or evaluate the existing skills, the capability, and the domain knowledge of their employees, especially line managers, like so as to identify areas where there are skill gaps and to do a training or retraining in those skill gap areas, right? So that's my own understanding of training analysis. However, no, don't take my word for it. Let's head to ChatGPT and see what he has to say concerning training need analysis. So I'm going to head over to my ChatGPT right now. I'm on my ChatGPT right now. So I'm going to just put a prompt. So training need analysis. So let's see what ChatGPT have to say. Okay, systematic process used to determine the gaps in employee skills, knowledge, and abilities that can be addressed through training. It helps organizations identify the areas where training is needed and ensure that the resources are used effectively to improve the performance and achieve organization goals. Once we now have a good understanding of what training need analysis is all about, let's head to Excel. So I was sent this file by an HR manager. So I'm going to open the Excel file now. So this is the Excel file. So I'm going to explain to you what this file is all about and what they want to achieve. So this is blah blah blah. This is for the evaluators. So let's leave all this. So this is the skill area that the organization want to evaluate its staff on. So we have leadership, knowledge, problem solving, etc. So yeah, this is the target skill they are expecting the employee to possess. So we have 3 levels of the skill. So we have the advanced, which is the highest. Then we have the intermediate. Then we have the basic. Okay, so each of these skill level has points. So advanced has a 3 points, so it is given a 3 points, intermediate 2, then basic 1. So for each skill, this is what to expect the employee or line manager to at least possess. Right? So for leadership, for instance, now, for leadership, we expect that, okay, you have an intermediate level skill. It don't need to be advanced. For industry knowledge, which I think is quite justifiable, you need to have an advanced level. Problem solving, very, very, very important. Also advanced. Client orientation, I beg your pardon, advanced. Then influencing and negotiation, well, we don't really need it to be advanced or intermediate. The basics here is just enough. Technology, well, we are good with intermediate. So and so on and so forth like that. Okay. So you can see those numbers, you can see the numbers in brackets. So 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1. So just according to the level of the skill. So these are the target skills, what we want them to have. What do they have? That is what we want to do now. So what do they have? Is it less than what we want them to have for each of the skill, or is it greater than? Right? So let's say, for instance, now, for leadership now, we expect him to have an intermediate. So what did the guy or the employee actually possess? Is it advanced? Is it basic? Or is it intermediate? That would be determined by the evaluator, which are most likely senior managers, evaluating junior managers, as the case may be. Okay, so we are going to have another, another column here for actual skill. So this is the target skill. We want them to have all this for this corresponding skill range. So this is going to be the actual skill. This is what they actually possess. So we now want to know whether there is a skill gap, whether there is a skill match, or whether it's above required. So look at this small table here, like a small table here. So if there's a skill gap, we should color code in yellow. There's skill match in green, while it's above required, it's going to be blue. So for us to have a skill gap, it means that the actual skill possessed is less than the target skill. So for instance, now, for leadership now, we expect the employee to have at least intermediate, which is 2/3. So if the employee has basic in leadership or is being evaluated by the senior manager to have basic, that means there's a skill gap. If the employee possesses intermediate, having been adjudged or evaluated by the senior manager, that means, and the required or the target skill is also intermediate, that means there is a skill match. However, if the employee possesses an advanced, level of leadership skill, then we can say it's above required. So we are going to have like our result column here, whereby we say, okay, we want to have skill gap, skill match, or above required, based on the target skill and the actual skill. So that is what we need to, or that's the assignment. This is a real life project that we are working on right now. So do it in such a way that the evaluator, the senior manager, will have a seamless exercise. Like, so there's not going to be too much. So either like a full automated or a semi-automated process, whereby once they just click on certain thing, the other information pops up. So we are going to design and develop a kind of a simple and straightforward the exploratory data analysis. We're going to design a simple and straightforward system that will enable them to just select, and the corresponding, value will be popped up, right? So you can see now what we are going to do is that we want to actually get to this particular stage. So we have done something like that. So this is what we have done, actually. This is what I've done. But I'm going to show you how I get to this level in such a way that, so you can see the intermediate skill. This is all the skill sets level that I've shown you earlier. So this is all the skill sets. So you can see this is the rating. So I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to open a new sheet. Then I'm going to paste it here, paste as values. So these are my skills. Okay, so I need the target skills. These are the target skills, right? So I'm going to copy. Then I'm going to paste it also here, paste as values. So, but what I needed is that, so I mean, if you have been into my class before and you understand data structures, so you can see that text and numbers are not supposed to be in the same column. So we are going to separate. So these are two different data types. So we are going to separate them, and we ensure that text is in a single column and integer is also in a single column. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. Then we're now going to call that one rating. Okay, so I'm going to clear this. So what I'm going to do, I'll just go to my tab, data tab, then I'll go to text to column. So text to column, what it does is to split a single column of text into multiple columns. Okay, so I'm going to click on my text to column. So I'm going to click on next. So my delimiting character here is open brackets. So you can, if any of this is not the delimiting character, so just select open bracket, or whichever character is the delimiting character that is separating the two texts in the particular column. So I'm just going to come here, then I'm going to put, so you can see the preview here. I'm going to click on next, finish. So as you can see now, I now have my data being splitted like this. So I also need to get rid of, this, the close bracket also. So to do that, same thing. So I'm going to go to data, text to column, So this time around, I'm just going to do the other way around. So I'm done now. So I have my target key. Then I'm not going to rename the like target skill rating. So let me just put it that way. So let me just rename this a little target skill rating. I'm sure you understand that. So I'm planning my table gradually, how the structure of my table is going to look like. So next thing I'm going to do, so now this is the line manager now. So the next work is now that, okay, what is going to be the actuals and what is going to be their corresponding values. Okay, so I already have this now. So I'm just going to say actual scale. So this is going to be dependent on what the evaluators, the senior managers, put down based on their assessments of each of the employees, right? So this is going to be actual skill. Then it's going to be actual skill rating. Or for simplicity, let me just say actual rating. Already know it's skill. Then let's say target rating. Okay, so I think we are good this way. Okay. So now, what I want to do is I want to create a very simple drop down. We don't want the evaluator to select unnecessary values that will involve us cleaning the data and want things to be very easy for them. So that's the reason why we are doing a drop down. So drop down ensure that you have quality data. You understand? So we're going to do a very simple drop down. So I can create my drop down here. I want you guys to see it so that you follow along, right? So then later on we can hide it and all of that. So what I want to do is that, so we have like these guys now. So I'm just going to copy this. So I'm going to come here, then I'm going to paste it. Then right here, I'm going to remove duplicates. So just go to the data on your tab, then next to column, very close to next to column, you see remove duplicate. So for just column J alone, so I've removed duplicate. So I now have intermediate, basic, intermediate, advanced, and basic. Okay, so now I want to do a drop down on this particular column, whereby anytime someone selected intermediate, the corresponding actual rating is going to pop up. So we're going to do that later. But here, I just want to do first that they should select any of these three different levels of skills. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to play my cursor on the first row on the actual skill column, don't forget. So let's also do something again. So let's format this data as a table. It's very important. So just highlight everything, just say Control T, then click on OK. So I've successfully formatted my data as a table, and it's extremely important that you do so also, right? So now what I want to do is just to first create a drop down here. You can put this information, you can put this drop-down list in another table or in another sheet, sorry, and still going to work. But I just want to show you how everything is looking like without moving from one sheet to the other. So I'm going to put my cursor here. Then I will go to my data tab. So let me just collapse this window. Okay, so I'm going to go to my data tab. Then I will go to data validation. Right, so I'm just going to click on data validation. So now to open this the data validation wizard. So on the allow box, I'm going to select list because I have my values in list. Then you can see here the source. So you need to specify the source that your list of values are. So I'm going to click on this. Then I cannot select. So if it's in another sheet, just navigate to that sheet. It's still going to work. So I'm just going to select my list. You can see I'm picking them. So you might decide to stop here. If you are certain that, okay, this is, every values that you want the data entry officer, whoever is inputting data to know. But sometimes it's good to always go a step further in case there might be other values that you did not anticipate now, but later on in the future, they might come handy. So I'm just going to, select 3 more rows. So this is my range of my list. Then I'm going to go back here. Then I'm going to click OK. So I'm not sure I have my drop down here, so I can easily select any of these without needing to. So what you are doing is that you don't want them to select any other value other than the one that you have specified. And like I've said earlier, it's to ensure data quality. Okay, so however, I can only do that in this first row. Second row, there's nothing like that, and I can type, which is not what we wanted. So what you need to do is that you need to cascade everything down from this row to the last row. I mean, there are other easier ways to do that, but just to get the job done, just do Ctrl C, then come to the second row, Ctrl Shift, press and hold your Ctrl and your Shift button, then press your down arrow so you can see. That is if you want it to be in only this table. But if you want it to go to, the last row, so you can see continue to press your down button. You can see we are the last row of the Excel 1,040,000, but we don't need it to the last row. So I'm just going to go back up. So this is where I needed it. I don't need it beyond this table. So I'm just going to say Control V. So I've put intermediate there. So I'm going to say delete. I just press delete. So you can see now that I have the intermediate, the evaluator can select. Then the second row, they can come here and select, and so on and so forth. So let me just get rid of this one. So now the reason why I say it is important that you can, or advisable that you can add some extra rows, because what if you have more levels of skill sets? So also, there might also be time that the person doesn't even have up to basic self, probably nothing. So we can come here and if you recall, I actually added, 3 extra rows for us to have more value. So I'm going to come here and say not exist. Probably the guy doesn't even have anything. Leadership is 0. So I'm just going to say 0. You understand? Then also again, I don't want to leave this particular column. I don't want to leave it blank. I want to have like something here that says, okay, select. You understand? So I'm going to come here and say select. So all these things are possible because I've allowed that when I was doing my data validation list source. You understand? So everything is complete. So that's why if you come here now, you can see that the 2 values I just added are now in the present. So I can just click on not exist or select. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of them. So these are the corresponding, ratings. So I'm just going to come here. So I'll format this small information as a table. So just come here and say skill, then just say ratings. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight everything. I'll take Control T. Understand? So you can see my table has said that yes. So I'm just going to leave it as table 10. You can rename it if you want. You understand? So maybe you can just say look table, just to look. I'm not going to reject it. That's just a simple table name I'm going to give it. Okay. So now the next thing we are going to do is to actually write a function here that will return the rating based on what the evaluator selected here. Okay, that is the idea. So to do that, we need to write a VLOOKUP function. So it's actually a VLOOKUP function that can solve that problem for us. So I'm just going to say equals to VLOOKUP. So like I've said several times, if you're doing anything inside of Excel, you want to start with Excel. Like you want to do calculations and all of that, you want to start with equals to. So once you start with equals to, the next thing is your function name. You can see, so this is equals to, then VLOOKUP, which is function name. After that, you're going to have your arguments, the function's arguments. So this is your function. So these are your arguments. So your argument can vary. They can have like 4, 5, up to like 10, depending on what your VLOOKUP is. So your VLOOKUP and your argument, they go hand in hand. Okay, so now I look up value. So most of the time, the arguments are inside your table, or it's something that you are aware of. You just need to know, okay, this is what the the argument is all about. So our first argument here is a lookup value. So our lookup value is anything that the evaluator selected here. So we are going to click on cell D2. Okay, then comma, table array. So immediately after the lookup value, which is like the first argument, we have to select, we are just going to type comma. In fact, after every argument, you need to put comma. So the second argument is the table array. So this is your table array. Just pick everything from A to Z, then comma, then column index number. That's the third argument now. So your column index number is the index number of the column that you want the value to be returned. So this is our table now. So we have two columns here, skill, the first column, then rating, the second column. So we only have two columns here. So the values that we want to return is from the ratings column. You understand? So if you have like more columns, let's say you have like more columns, like 5 columns. So we have like 3, 4, 5. So if it's in this column that you want to return, your column index number will be 4. You understand? So but we only have 2 columns here, 1 and 2, and we want the ratings to be returned. So I'm going to type 2 here as our column index number. Comma, then the range lookup. So 2 options here, approximate match or exact match. So I'm going to go with exact match, which is actually adversive because it's going to give you the exact information. Then I'm going to close my bracket. So I'm done with my argument and I'm going to click enter. So it's going to give us NA because we have actually not selected anything yet. So if you now come in now as the enumerator or the line manager, or sorry, the senior manager, and you select intermediate, you see that you have 2 here. So if you come down here now, if you select advanced, you see there is 3. If you come down here, you select basic, you see that it's 1. So this is what we want to achieve. We don't want them to be typing anything inside there that will not be in tandem with what we want them to do. You know, they are going to do it for like probably like 10, 15 line managers for the enumerator. So each page is for a particular employee, and we don't want to stress them. You understand? So that is the idea of all this. So like I said earlier, I want to put everything in select so that we don't have anything once they start. So this is going to be the difference. Select. So we want them to select something here. So you can now select advanced, then change to 3, select intermediate, change to 2, etc. So anytime they select, anytime there is a selection here, and it's bringing the corresponding rating, we want to know if there is a skill gap, there is a skill match, or above required. So we'll go back to our original document. So we want to know if there's a skill gap, we want to know if there's a skill match, or there's above required. Okay, so that is what this column is going to be. So we can rename it. Let's say we are going to rename this like status. You can just give it any name, like status of the skill level. You understand? So we are going to use a function called if function to actually do that. Okay, so what we want to do here is that if actual rating is less than target rating, that means there's a skill gap. If actual rating is equals to target rating, that means there is a skill match. If actual rating is greater than the target rating, that means above required. So that is what we want to do here. You can see skill gap, skill match, above required. I want to represent them in these colors. Okay, so the function that can solve that problem for us is the if function. All right, so I'm going to start from the first row. So, however, you can actually use ChatGPT to help you with formulas if it's kind of technical or too complex for you. For instance, now I can just come to my chat GPT and tell him that okay, kindly write me a multiple if function formula in Excel. Just as simple as that. So you don't need to actually crack your brain or go too much. So you can just tell ChatGPT to do the work for you and you do it. So what you just need to do is just to change the columns or the values to your own values. So that is what I do now since the advent of ChatGPT, because it makes your work easier and faster. Okay, so let me stop it. I actually see what I want. So you can see, look at what, if A1 is greater than 90, that is A. If cell, this is actually for cell A1 is greater or equal to 80, that is B. If cell A1 is this, that is 70. So these are multiple functions. So I think I actually need the one that is very simple. So this is for this particular one. Or you can just even be specific and say, write me for just 3 conditions. So what you have here is probably more than 3. So this is what it's doing. It's probably more than like 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I need like 5 conditions, I will just copy it, but I don't need 5 conditions. So I just say, write me just 3 conditions. That's all. Because I needed above required skill gap or skill match. You understand? Exactly, this is what I needed. Okay, if A1 is high, if is need, that's what I needed. So let me just stop it now. Okay, so what I'll just do that, I will just copy this code. So now before I copy, let me just explain to you. If the value is greater than or equals to 90, that is high. If value is between 50 and 89, that is medium. If value is less than 50, that is low. So I'm just copy this code. Then I'll go to my Excel. Then I'm going to just come here and paste it. You understand? So don't worry, everything will look good now. So mind you, what I first do is I first want to hide this. It doesn't affect anything, so I just want to hide it for you. So immediately I copied and pasted this formula here. So this is what I have. You can see high, because I mean, this is not what we actually wanted. So it's just giving us high. So now what I will actually now do is that I will just edit them one after the other. So my own A1 is not his own A1. What I want to do is I want to do actual rating and target rating from column E and column C and down to everything in that column. So I'm going to say if E2, which is the actual rating, is less than, so I'm not going to put 90 here, so I'm going to put the target rating. You understand? Is less than target rating. So what should happen? You can see that this is being quoted. So if you want any value return, which is a text, you must quote that particular value. Okay. So what I'm saying that if 3 is less than 2, that means the target rating is higher than the actual rating. That means there's a skill gap. So I'm just going to type skill gap here. So that's my first condition. Then my second condition that is now is that, so once I've done that, so now if I'm not using A1 again. So I'm using my E2. Actual rating is equals to now my target rating. So instead of this 50, I'm going to put my C2. You understand? So that is If they are the same thing, that means that's a skill match. However, if it is the other way around, if actual rating is more than the target rating, which is the last thing, then that is above required. So you just come here and type above required. So you can see what we do now. If actual rating is more than, sorry, there's a mistake here now. There's a mistake. So if actual rating is less than, so this is supposed to be less than, is less than actual rating, that means there's a skill gap. That is not up to actually, that's a skill gap. If it is the same thing with target rating, that means there's a skill match. However, if actual rating is more than the target rating, then there's above required, and I'll hit enter. So above required, and I just drag everything down here. Don't worry, because you have not selected anything yet. That's why it's showing you like that. So let's confirm the first one now. So this is 3. Actual rating is 3. Then the target rating. So they only needed 2. They only needed 2, which is intermediate for leadership. But the guy has advanced, which is 3. So that is above required. So if you now come here and select, let's say for industry knowledge, they needed advanced, but the guy has intermediate. That's a skill gap. For problem solving, they needed advanced, then the guy probably has advanced also. That's a skill match. So depending on whatever it is that they selected, we come here. So if it doesn't, it not exist, let's say client orientation, they need advanced and there is not existent. If I click on not existence, it's 0. That's a skill gap also. So you can see the workings now. So if I come here and selected intermediate, they needed basic, but a guy has intermediate, that is advanced. So they needed basic and the guy has advanced, that's above required. Okay, so you can now let's just populate it with any something. So just give this let's say intermediate, let's say basic, skill gap, let's say advanced, above required. So this is not supposed to be advanced. Okay, so they needed advanced. So now you can see where number is having an issue. So this advanced now, there's also an issue from the training assessment. You know, so advanced is supposed to be 3 here, not 2. You can see now. So advanced 2, 2, 2. So you are supposed to have 3 there. So all these are supposed to be 3. Okay. So now you can see advanced, the guy has advanced, that's a skill match. Advanced, advanced, then we select this. Now let's say we give this guy intermediate, advanced, that's skill match. The last one, let's say intermediate, that is skill gap. So now we have given them what they needed to work now. So the last one is to know if, well, for whatever it is that is being returned here, we want to encode it with a particular column, just based on the original document that they gave us here. Skill gap is yellow, this color, and the last color. So yeah, this is where we are now going to look at the employ the conditional formatting. So I'll just go to my conditional formatting here. So I'll first select every values in the status column. Go to conditional formatting. So you go to align cells rules. So you're going to select equal to. So now, so I'm going to say if format cells equals to, let's say above now, immediately I say you can see, then what do you want to fill it with? So I'm going to go to custom format, fill. So our above requirement is color coded in this color. I hope so, above guys. So let me just select this. Then again, the next one, I like cells rule, equal to. So if it's skill gap, they want to fill it with like a yellow custom format, fill, then I think it's the color. Then lastly, conditional formatting, I like sales rules equal to ski match, select ski match. Then I think it should be green. Okay. So this is how I want it to be formatted. So that's how we get about. So anytime they selected any of these guys, so you have the if condition returning the actual statement, then you have the colors. So thank you guys. This is going to be the end of the class for today. So don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel so that I can create more meaningful content like this. Till I see you the next time. Be good.